Hello, my
Hello.
name's Jack,
And I'm Pinky.
and this is Pillow Talk.
Pillow talk.
Huh? Okay, what we're reporting today is from the Citizen Electoral Council of Australia, and it's referring to the cash ban.
Cash ban.
Yes, the cash ban.
Cash ban?
Exactly. They're trying to stop people using their cash so they can have them forced to place it in the bank, and so the bank can get hold of their money, and that's the idea. So, I'm going to read to you the report from the CEC.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what they're saying is that the fight against the Morrison government's totalitarian cash ban has achieved an important breakthrough. Thanks to the thousands of submissions and phone calls that Treasury and MPs have received from fired up Australians, the Labor Party has not done its usual rollover to the government and banks, but has done the right thing and demanded proper process. Yesterday, on the 19th of September 2019, Labor joined with One Nation, the Greens, Centre Alliance to overrule the government and refer the bill to the Senate committee for an extended inquiry that is due to report by 7th February 2020. This means that the Morrison cannot stick to his schedule of banning cash transactions of $10,000 starting 1st of January 2020.
Well, thank goodness.
It certainly is. This decision could prove to be in the nick of time. Rumblings in the subterranean recesses of global financial system, where banks keep their toxic derivatives and other interbank dealings, are suddenly growing louder, eerily similar to the 2007 and 8 lead up to the global financial crisis. Stopping fascist policies like the cash ban and bail-in will block the government from resorting to extreme policies to continue to prop up the failing financial system and force real financial reform onto the agenda, including the Glass-Steagall separation of banking from speculation and a national bank to invest in the infrastructure and industries we need to revive the real economy.
Mm-hmm.
The breakthrough came after Assistant Treasurer Michael Sukkar introduced the currency restrictions on the use of cash, Bill 2019, in the House of Reps first thing Thursday morning. This was first time anyone was able to see the bill since the Treasury issued its exposure draft on Friday evening at the end of July to minimise scrutiny. Would you believe that? They wanted to hide it.
Sounds sneaky.
Very sneaky. That didn't work because, thanks to the CEC and others who sounded the alarm, Treasury was inundated with over 4,000 submissions.
Good job.
Now, that compares to an average of 30 submissions that's typically received. Evidencing Treasury, the government's continuing intention to ram the bill through, Sukkar introduced it without any response from Treasury to the submissions, which Treasury is refusing to disclose or make public on the website.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to hide it.
Mm-hmm. More
Mm,
sneaky business.
always. Yes. Now, from an initial analysis of the finalised bill, one thing is clear. It is even worse than the exposure draft.
Oh?
That's right. Key point. Two key points. The bill legislates an absolute ban on all cash transactions over $10,000, full stop. This includes bank deposits and withdrawals. Individual to individual transactions, the bill bans everything. Moreover, any breach of the ban carries strict liability, no excuses. Even accidental, you go to jail for 2 years. Do you believe that? That's incredible.
That's horrible.
It's worse than communist China.
It's a police state.
Unbelievable. It is very important to understand that the bill bans everything because the government will claim it doesn't. It will claim you can still do many things, that you can still deposit or withdraw more than $10,000 from the bank, and you can still buy a second-hand car from another individual. However, that is only because those things are exempted by a ministerial regulation attached to the bill. The regulation exempts deposits and withdrawals, individuals transacting with each other, armoured guards transporting cash, workers at Note Printing Australia loading crates of cash on trucks, etc. The problem is that the minister can change these regulations on a whim. He has the power to suddenly remove the exemption on deposits and withdrawals, for instance, without requiring a vote in Parliament. So your ongoing rights are at the mercy of the minister. The only change would require parliamentary vote on an amendment to the bill is a reduction in the limit to less than $10,000. And we know that KPMG, the crooked accounting firm that's behind this ban, and is also coordinating the totally cashless new payments platform to force all transactions through the banks, is already lobbying for the limit to be reduced as low as $2,000.
No.
Yes. Well,
Freedom. Kapoof.
the good news is a new inquiry by the Senate Economics Legislation Committee is open to receive submissions now. And the deadline for the submission is the 15th of November.
Must get onto it. Must get onto it.
Yes, we must. The reporting date is the 7th of February 2020. Everybody should make a submission. If you made a submission to the Treasury, send an updated version of that, citing any of the new information that has since come to light, including Australia doesn't have a serious black economy problem. Its black economy is actually shrinking. KPMG and its cronies are behind the real black economy, which is multinationals avoiding tax, laundering money, not individuals and small businesses using cash. You should have the right to use cash for financial privacy and to avoid bank charges and limit your exposure to bad banking practices. More importantly, the IMF has revealed that the ulterior motive for cash restrictions is to trap people in banks so they can't escape extreme policies like negative interest rates. It will also expose bank deposits to bail-in, having their deposits confiscated to prop up the bank if it is in danger of failing. So, there is a looming crisis coming on, and this is why they're doing it. The IMF, Bank for International Settlements, central banks and governments are pushing these increasingly extreme policies to keep propping up the failed financial system that is crushing the people. Instead of reforming the system so it is made to serve the people, dramatic events have underscored how urgent it is that we reform the system, including the repo crisis in the USA, when suddenly the overnight lending rate between banks skyrocketed to around 10%, to a lack of liquidity, forcing the US Fed to inject over $200 billion into the overnight market. The most likely reason for this is one or more as yet unknown institutions suddenly needing a huge amount of money, perhaps related to hidden derivatives losses, the big threat hanging over the global financial system. This year, there has been a huge jump in derivatives, gambling by banks, both worldwide and in Australia, a sure thing of financial desperation. So, reforming the system through policies like Glass-Steagall and national banking is therefore extremely urgent. Stopping the cash ban and bail-in are crucial first steps. So, well, Pinky, it looks as though we've got to stand up to this crooked government policy who are controlled by the bankers, like the IMF, and are basically told what to do. So, for now, I hope that all you out there will do something to stop this crooked business.
Make your submissions.
Yes, submit now. And check out YouTube with CEC Report. They can tell you a lot more.
CEC report.
Exactly. So we'd like to say good night and end of our pillar talk. Bye.
Bye. CEC report.